Boker Tov, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Boker Tov. We open this morning page 187. If you have a prayer book at home, grab your prayer book. And if you are following on the digital copy, there is a PDF of Mishkan Tefillah underneath our virtual link. There is grace that every dawn renews, a loveliness that makes every morning fresh. We will endure, we will prevail. We, the children of hope, children of the One who crowds the heavens with stars, endows the earth with glory, and fills the mind with wonder. In gratitude, 186. One 188, Kol Hanshama, Tehalel Yah, Psalm 150, let all that breathes, every person, every animal, every tree, every rock, breathe praise to Yah, the source. Kol HaNeshama Tehalel Yah, Hallelujah. Kol HaNeshama Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol HaNeshama Hallelujah, hallelujah. Psalm 121. Me'ayin, me'ayin, yavo ezri. Esainai, el harim. Me'ayin, me'ayin, yavo ezri. Ezri, me'im Adonai, oseh shamayim va'aretz. Adonai, Oseh Shamayim va'aretz. Lai 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 Yotzer, page 195 in the middle. Don't let me fall as a stone falls to the hard ground. And don't let my hands become dry as the twig of a tree when the wind beats down the last leaves and when the storm raises dust from the earth with anger and howling. Don't let me become the last fly trembling, terrified on a window pane. Don't let me fall. I have asked for so much, but as a blade of your grass in a distant wild field, let's drop a seed in the lap of the earth and dies away. Sow in me your living breath as you sow a seed in the earth.
Baruch atah Adonai, rofei chol basar, umafli la'asor.
196.
Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi. Baruch atah Adonai, asher beyado nefesh kol chai, v'ruach kol basar ish.
198 in amazement, Birkot HaShachar, reaching for a wonderful world. At the bottom of the virtual link on the website.
Lecha v'gam li, ani shar le'atzmi, ize achla olam. Hashamayim kechulim anahu lavan, v'haboker bahir, u'balayla ishan, v'achlo la'atzmi, ize achla olam. V'chol tzivei hakeshet, yafim v'chadashim, prusim acharei hageshem, al panei ha'anashim, v'hayom keyofef, v'kal li kol kach, lomar she'ani ohev otach, v'hineni tokot bokim b'mita, ma shehem yilmedu le'olam lo eda, az ani shar la'atzmi, ize achla olam. V'chol tzivei hakeshet, yafim v'chadashim, prusim acharei hageshem, al panei ha'anashim, v'hayom kol yafeh, v'kal li kol kach, lomar she'ani ohev otach. Hashamayim kechulim ananu lavan, v'haboker bahir, v'balayla ishan, v'echlo la'atzmi, ize achla olam, ani shar la'atzmi, ize achla
gratitude, I marvel at how wonderful a world it is. And I stepped up to my obligation for partnering to create, to sustain, to further the beauty, the blessings, the good. Page 206. Elu devarim sha'ein lahem shi'or, she'adam ochel peirotehem ba'olam hazeh, והקרן קיימת לו לעולם הבא, ואלו הן כיבוד אב ואם.
Honoring one's father and mother.
וגמילות חסדים.
Engaging in deeds of compassion.
והשכמת בית המדרש שחרית וערבית.
Arriving early for study, morning and evening.
והכנסת אורחים.
Dealing graciously with guests.
וביקור חולים.
Visiting the sick.
והכנסת כלה.
Providing for the wedding couple.
ובית המת.
Accompanying the dead for burial.
ועיון תפילה.
Being devoted in prayer.
והבאת שלום בין אדם לחברו.
And making peace among people.
ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם.
But the study of Torah encompasses them all, because it leads to them all.
Amen. 213. הריני מזמן את פילודות ולהלל ולשבח את בוראי. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מהולל בתשבחות. Amen. 215, we pray responsively. אשרי יושבי ביתך עוד ילוך סלה. אשרי העם שככה לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו. תהילה לדוד, ארוממך אלוהי המלך, וברכה שמך לעולם ועד. בכל יום אברכך, והללה שמך לעולם ועד. גדול אדוני מהולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר. דור לדור ישבח מעשיך, וגבורתך יגידו. הדר כבוד הודך, ודברי נפלותיך עשיך. בעזוז נורותיך יאמרו, וגדולתך אספרנה. זכר רב טובך יביעו, וצדקתך ירננו. חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים וגדל חסד. טוב אדוני לכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו. יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך. כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו. להודיע לבני האדם גבורותיו, וכבוד הדר מלכותו. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים. עיני כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו. פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון. צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו. קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראו באמת. רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם. שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל רשעים ישמיד. תהילה אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד. ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. 218.
Hallelujah. מעוזו, הללו בגבורותיו, הללו ברוב גבולו.
Neva v'chinor, Hallelu b'tof u'machor, Hallelu b'mim ve'ugav, Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. Shama Hallelujah, Kohan Shama Hallelujah, 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 $223. Yishabach Shimcha le'ad Malkeinu. You shall always be praised, great and holy source, and sovereign in heaven and on earth. Songs of praise and psalms of adoration become you, acknowledging your might and your dominion. Yours are strength and sovereignty, sanctity, grandeur, and glory. Always we offer our devotion, open our hearts in acclamation. 224.
יתקדע ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה, בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דהמירן בעלמא, במהרו Amen.
226, calling one another into formal worship. 229, in the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have to cast light into darkness and draw out justice and truth. At the bottom of page 228, Or Chadash.
Or Chadash, Al Zion Ta'ir, 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 ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאור. 230. Ahava Rabbah, Avtanu Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla Gedola, V'terachalta Aleinu, Ba'avor Avotenu Ve'emotenu, Shebatchu V'cha, Vat Lamdeim Chukei Chaim, Ken Techonenu Utlamdenu, Hamerachem Rachem Aleinu, V'ten Belibenu, Lahavin, Ulahaskil, לשמוע ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. והערנו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך. ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש ולא ניכלם ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו כמו מיעוט לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך לאהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל, באהבה. 232. Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kod Malchuto va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Lai, 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 la, 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 234.
Ve'ahavta
Et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ug'shartam le'ot ahal yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. 236. Adonai said to Moses as follows: Speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves tzitzit and the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your tzitzit. Look at it and recall all of the commandments of Adonai and observe them, so that you do not follow your heart and your eyes in your lustful urge. Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet. 241. Egypt is symbolic of any bondage, any slavery. In singing the Song of the Sea, we sing our present experience as redemption, as well as the historic redemption of Israel from Egypt in our past. When we walk through the period of the Omer, counting the days between Pesach and Shavuot, we unveil the experience of redemption in ourselves. Every day, say the rabbis, we are sold into slavery. Every day we are delivered. And every day, and in each period, we can choose to experience the miraculous as real as that of the sea. 240.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh.
Nora tehilot, osei fele. Nora tehilot, osei fele. Shira chadasha, shivchu geulim l'shimcha, al sfat hayam. Yachad kulam, hodu v'himlichu ve'ameru. Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed. Tzur Yisrael, kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, uvdechenu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzevaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. 242. O Source, you are as near as the very air we breathe. Kol hanshama tehalel ya, yet farther than the farthest most star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence as the fish that gives himself to the sea, as the bird that gives herself to the air, so may we give ourselves to you. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agil tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Emoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei Vneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. 246. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye metim, atah rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. 248.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, הכתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. Hallelujah. From generation to generation. We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history. to say. L'ador v'ador nagid galacha. L'ador v'ador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. L'ador v'ador, these lips will praise your name. L'ador v'ador nagid galacha. L'ador v'ador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. L'ador v'ador, these lips will praise your name.
250. Prayer is an expression of our values. Judaism is a doing, a living, a practice. Yismechu b'malachutecha, celebrating the Sabbath in the most active and heartfelt and full way.
Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei onei Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei onei Shabbat. Mikadashei Shevi Shabbat, Kulam Yismeu V'yitangu Metuvecha Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onei Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onei Shabbat. V'chashvi רצית בו וקידשתו שבת, חמדת ימין אותו קראת השבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת, זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. Lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai lai lai.
Tfilat Amidah continues belachash, in a whisper through page 260. need strength, humility, courage, and patience. Strength to control my passions. Humility to assess my own worth. Courage to rise above defeats. Patience to cleanse myself of imperfections, and wisdom. Wisdom to learn and live by our sacred teachings. Let me not be discouraged by my failings. Let me take heart from all that is good and noble in my character. Keep me from falling victim to cynicism. Teach me sincerity and enthusiasm. Endow me with perception and courage that I may serve others with compassion and love.
Adonai tzuri v'go'ali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you. Adonai tzuri v'go'ali. Adonai tzuri v'go'ali. Adonai tzuri v'go'ali.
Seder Kriyat Torah, the Shabbat, the special order, the ceremony by which we bring forth the Torah for study, 362.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitin, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
364.
Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, u'devar Adonai miYerushalayim.
366.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, L'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Praying responsively.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shmo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu l'Adonai iti, uneromema shemo yachtav. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagivura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod. Ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki chol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai ha'malacha v'hamitnaseh lechol rosh. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Lai 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 lai. La 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 la. 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 La 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 la. As we read this morning in a double portion Tazria Mitzorah, focusing on chapter 15, verse 25 of the book of Leviticus. Leviticus 15, verse 25. If you are following in the blue Chumash, the Plout Chumash, you can find that on page 759. For the first Aliyah, I have the privilege of inviting Ginny Perrin. Na la'amod Yael mi Beit Yosef v'Malka la'aliyah harishona.
Baruch et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, ve'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'isha Ki azuv, zov dama, yamim rabim, belo et nidata, o ki tazuv, al nidata, kal hayame, zov tumata, kine nidata, Tiye timea hi kol hamishkav asher tishkav alav kol yamei zova kamishkav nidata יהיה לה, וכל הכלי אשר תשב עליו, טמא יהיה כטומאת נידתה, וכל הנוגע בם יטמא, וכיבס בגדיו, ורחץ במים, וטמא עד הערב, ואם טהרה מזובה, וספרה לה 7 ימים, ואחר תטהר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, בחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. For the second Aliyah, I call Dave Rosenthal. Na la'amo David mi Beit Shlomo v'Marie, la'aliyah ha'shenit.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher barka banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. Amen. Amen. Va'im taha la ra mizova v'safra la shivata yamim va'achar tithar uvayom hashmini tikach la shtei torim o shnei b'nei Yonam v'heviah otam el hakohen el petach ohel moed va'asa hakohen et ha'echad hatat ve'et ha'echad olah v'kiper aleha hakohen lifnei Adonai mizov tum'atah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. Amen.
This morning, as we offer our prayer for healing, I want to just take note that our amazing Susan Bosch and our amazing Reba Lindsay both returned home healthfully and safely after surgeries this week, as we hold both Susan and Reba in our hearts for continued healing. Mi sheberach avotenu ve'emotenu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et hacholim, Reba Lindsay and Susan Bosch, David Anderson, Amanda Batista, Jenny Bryant, Audrey Cohn, Barbara Cohn, Robert Cohn, Adele Corvin, Tyler Corvin, Louis Costello, Bob Davis, John Gautier, Joy Gross, Anna Hernandez, Darren Jacobs, Judy Jacobs, Jacob Kerr, Seth Kerr, Andrea Klein, Mary Jane Klein, Luke Klein, Paula Markovitz, Reverend Michelle Meach, Joe Michaels, Moshe Yosef, Howard Pellet, Stephanie Payusko, Carla Friedman, Ellie Edovitz, Tony Reisenstein, Robin Stone, Ellen Bogoloff, George Wells, Ben Wilder, Phyllis Wolfield, Gretchen Zimmerman, as you send forth the names of your loved ones, and I hold all of those for continued healing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleiham Lachlimam Urafotam Ulachzikam Vaishlach Lehem Meira Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Urefuat HaGuf Hashtei Bagalav Izman Kariv V'nomar Amen. And for the third and final aliyah, my privilege to call our Melanie Hall. Na la'amod ruach mi beit Avraham v'Sara la'aliyah ha'shlishit la'maftir. Chapter 15, verse 31.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Behizartem et b'nei Yisrael mitumatam v'lo yamutu bitumatam v'tamam et mishkani asher b'tocham. Zot Torat Hazev Va'asher tetzei mimenu shichbat zera l'tama ba v'hadava b'nidata v'hazav et zavo lazachar v'lankeva ul ish asher yishkal im temei. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Calling Eli Bosch and Greg Lindsay forward for the honor of Hagba and Glila.
V'zot haTorah
Asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Hey Torah, ya la 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 la. Ki metzion hey Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim. Ki metzion hey Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim. Ki metzion hey Torah, udvar Adonai Mirushalayim. It's a double portion, and there is a haftarah for Mitzorah, which I am not going to choose to do. I find it full of anger and grief and retribution. I am going to turn to the haftarah of Tazria, which is 2 Kings 4, beginning with verse 42. In the blue Chumash, you can find it on page 747, an affirmation that if we can pay attention, we actually have what we need, and we will get what we need to survive, to thrive, to care for all the people. There does not need to be a fear that there won't be enough if we can act accordingly. The blessing begins on page 372, and then moving of the Siddur of the prayer book, and then moving to 747 of the Plaut Chumash.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen. V'ishba mibal shalisha vayaveh leish ha'elohim lechem bikorim esrim lechem seorim v'charmel b'tziklono vayomer ten la'am vayochelu vayomer misharotav ma'a eten zeh lefnei mea ish vayomer ten la'am vayochelu. Give to the nation, and they will eat. Ki cho amar Adonai achol vehoter vayiten lifneihem vayochlu vayotiru Kidvar Adonai.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el haneman, haomer ve'oseh, hamdaber umkayim, shekol devarav, emet vatzedek, al haTorah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al hanviim, ve'al yom hashabat hazeh, שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך וברוך שמו,
מקדיש השבת.
Amen. So today we are going to weave some teachings together. And I hope that through this morning's study, you may be able to take glimmers of understanding from the places that we will zero in on. So I'm going to ask that you begin with Leviticus 12:3. Whatever Chumash you are using, turn to Leviticus chapter 12, verse 3. And when you get there and you take a look at this one verse, this is what you are going to notice. On the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. Here we hear, Yimol b'saro arloto. And I'm going to bring up a question that confounds Jews all over the world. Maybe some of you who have had a male child born, when you found yourself on the 8th day confronted with the choice of circumcision. Here and in other additional places in the Torah, we learn that we are to circumcise our male children on the 8th day. Parents say to me, and I myself wonder and marvel at a baby child born, in my mind, perfect, a miracle. And in this perfect perfection, miracle of a child born, there may be a parent or three who wonder, why would I ever go through a procedure of removing the foreskin of the male genitalia when this infant is perfect as he is a creation from the divine? And I begin here because I believe that we are learning something in Tazria Mitzorah, and for that reason this mitzvah appears here too. That while the divine creation is perfect, there is also an opening for human intentioning, human participation in a miracle already done. The invitation to recognize that our role is to partner with the divine. And through our intentioning and our actions, and through this removal of the foreskin, we commit to stepping into the marvelous, the perfect, the creation of the divine, partnering and sustaining and even improving on creation through our intentioning. Not because the divine needs us to improve, but because the improvement happens when there is a human commitment, not just to bask in or to indulge in or to receive supreme and divine gifts, but to honor, to partner, to respect, to sustain, to further divine gifts. It wouldn't be easy, but right now, we could actually save the earth from global warming. Right now, we could do it. But it would require this intention, this recognition that it's not just for us to take whatever has been afforded us, but rather to protect, to respect. Leviticus chapter 12, verse 8. And this is a phrase that's repeated again in the portion that was read to us by our wonderful Torah readers today. In 12:8 we hear, Ve'im lo timtza yada de'iseh v'lakcha shtei turim or shnei b'nei yonah. We hear that if one can't afford sheep to bring as an offering, to bring as their participation, to bring as a gift, then 2 turtle doves or young doves will suffice. I love this idea, that the idea of participation in protecting the world is not limited to one class of people, the haves, one class of people, those who had sheep, who could afford the sheep, but rather there's a way for everyone to participate. In fact, everyone must participate. I love this as it is recognized here in Tazria and Mitzorah. Let's jump to Leviticus 14, verse 35. Leviticus 14, verse 35. And as a reminder before we delve into this one section, a reminder that the affliction of tzara'at, this white, contagious, frightening, dangerous illness, this malady exists for the person, exists on the individual's garments, their clothing, and exists in the very structure of the house, of the building. And in verse 10, in chapter 14, verse 35, we hear, the owner of the house shall come and tell the priest, will declare, as the Hebrew says, out loud, something like a plague has appeared upon my house. The one to whom the house belongs shall come and declare. I find this one of the most interesting points of this double portion. It speaks about ownership. That if there's a problem in my house, or on my garments, or in my heart, I have to own it and be responsible for it. One of the hardest nuts to crack, one of the hardest frogs to swallow is that we're all so quick to see that it's somebody else who is the racist. It's somebody else who is biased. And this recognition that change only happens when the owner of the house, herself or himself, declares, there's a problem here. And I must be responsible for that problem. And so connecting to my teaching last evening, there was a glimmer of hope this week in the Derek Chauvin trial, and it was that several police people came forward and testified against another police officer breaking the blue code, that the head of police, the chief of police, came and testified as to what is good policing, as to what is excessive force. It's impossible for me to stand here today and not recognize that last week we had Yom HaShoah, which then rolled into Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, Holocaust remembrance, which rolled on to Israeli Memorial Day for the fallen soldiers into Yom HaAtzmaut. This is a sacred time in Israel. You've heard this from me. There is not an Israeli family that has not lost someone in the war. A member of their family, a partner, a child, a parent, a lover, a friend. This year, on Yom HaZikaron, ultra-Orthodox Jews set fire and desecrated the Jewish cemetery of the fallen soldiers in Israel. Until we recognize the deficit, the defects, the problems in our own house, and own our responsibility, till we name it and hold ourselves accountable, we cannot expect there to be a change. In chapter 14, verse 37, we hear V'ra'a et ha'nega. When one sees the affliction, when one sees the affliction, and I'd like to speak about the word affliction, nega, for my Hebrew speakers, nega, nun gimel ayin, nogea, touch. An affliction is when it touches you, it is when you see it. The person who sees it, who is touched by it, and doesn't respond, is herself or himself complicit. When you turn your eyes and you say, okay, but I'm going to ignore that. I'm not going to see my own faults, the faults of my people, the faults of my house. It is truly an affliction. And I'd like to close this morning by going to chapter 14, verse 38. And I would like to walk you through this. In 1438, we hear that there is a 7-day quarantine required to prevent that house from afflicting another house. And then in 1439, we see that the CDC, the Board of Health, the Kohen, can come forward and return and examine to see, has the affliction spread? In 1440, we see that stones are removed that have been contaminated, and I love this section. V'chaltzu et ha'avanim. It's in plural, and they will remove the stone. It's not just the individual, but it's a communal responsibility to surgically proceed to cut out the defect, like one might in an operation to cut out the cancer. Sifrei says that everyone must participate. And Leviticus 14:41 goes farther and says you must scrape the inside of the house to remove any last remain. And then in 14:42, replace the stone, replaster the house. And in 14:43, if the affliction erupts again, after you have removed the stone and replaced it, if there is recidivism, then you realize that like a cancer, this has metastasized and will become fatal. In 1444, we actually hear it described as a malignant tzara'at mam'eret. And ultimately, when this happens in 1445, we learn that it is necessary to demolish the house and rebuild anew. We are challenged with understanding that we are to partner with the divine. We are challenged with the understanding that we need to take ownership, to own our own hunchback, to own our own biases. We are challenged with the understanding that as a community, we must together address what has gone wrong and to rebuild stone by stone as needed, and if that's not enough, then to rebuild from the bottom up. As I taught you during the week and last evening, none of this is to leave anyone behind. All of this is to protect the community and the individuals in the community, and to find a way to bring everyone back, but only in a way that we are capable and prepared to go forward differently. Page 374.
יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו.
הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן לעמו, תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם קרובו. הללויה, הללויה. כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם תורתי, אל תעזובו.
עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה, ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה. חדש חדש ימינו, חדש ימינו
Next week, all the classes with me are as scheduled. Please check the website. A reminder that if you are unable to join us for Yom HaShoah that happened last weekend, both Yom HaShoah as well as all of our services are archived, and we encourage you to go back and explore what you have missed. Coming up in May, celebrate the gift of Torah with us. Our Tikkun Leil Shavuot via Zoom is on Sunday, May 16th from 10:30 p.m. to midnight plus a few minutes. Join me, Rabbi Yael, and your fellow learners and seekers for an annual late night festival journey. We will study the book of Ruth, focusing on renewal and hope following times of devastation. The following morning, there'll be a Shavuot sunrise service Monday, May 17th, gathering at the Kingston Point Beach at 5 a.m. Bring a poem or text about Jewish revelation. And immediately following our sunrise service, we will have a bring your own picnic breakfast on the beach. If you're interested in joining any of our active committees that meet generally monthly, sometimes a little more, please reach out to the main office or to me or to any board members, and we will help connect you to the work that you hope to be doing. If you know an essential worker to be honored by having their name read each week, please send us their name and occupation to the main office. For more information about anything that I've spoken about or all of our programs and upcoming services, go to cehv.org or contact our main office. While the building remains closed, we are very much maintaining all of our programming and, in fact, looking into June, July, and August to find all of the opportunities outdoors, socially distanced, that we can come together as a congregation. The Aleinu, page 587.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. 588, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומי. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. על כן נקבע לך אדוני אלוהינו לתקן עולם במלכות שדי. יכירו וידעו כל יושבי תבל כי על מלכות שלך היא ולעולמי עד תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו 593, in nature's ebb and flow. The source's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of HaShekhinah's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. HaMakor, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set HaShekhinah before us and shall not despair. In HaMakor's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under HaShekhinah's protection we abide, and by HaMakor's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. For those who have recently let go of their hold on life, Beth Kletsky Olson, Phoebe Cohen. For all those loved ones who died in this period of Shloshim and of Shana, I am with you, and as you say Kaddish, I am holding your loved ones in my heart. And for loved ones who died in this season in years past, whose yahrzeits are being observed, we name them now: Fanny Cohen, Gloria Gus, remembered by Allison Gus, Max Heishuber, remembered by Kitty Satinsky, Arnold Lieberman, remembered by Evie Rosenthal, Alvin Marblestone, Merritt Markle, remembered by Linda Sumber, Henry Markson, Martin Michaels, remembered by Samantha Michaels, Mason Millens, Lawrence Parrish, remembered by Wendy Parrish, Richard Pursley, remembered by Sally Anderson, Stephen Raymond, remembered by Susan Bosch, Lonnie Rector, remembered by Kahana Skalnick, Jesse Schlesinger, Martin Seidlin, Eleanor Werbolowski, remembered by Jay Werbolowski. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing and holding in our hearts the people of every race and nation who lived their lives as a blessing to humanity, who died as victims of violence, of hatred. We hold them together with our own people who died martyrs, leaving no one to say Kaddish for them. 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudusha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol b'nei adam v'imru, amen. Adon olam 649, recognizing that which is bigger than we, which is bigger than me. 625. So I apparently told you the wrong page, and I am going to give you another page, 625. לעץ נשא וחצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. והוא אחד ואין שני, והמשילו להבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבי ועת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוזי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. הפקיד רוחי ועת אישן ואירה, ועם רוחי גוויעתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. דברי, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן, אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ, amen. Have a beautiful day. Shabbat Shalom.